Afternoon. On behalf of the Cardigan Mountain School chapter of the National Junior Honor Society, welcome to the 2016 NJHS Induction Ceremony. We are gathered here to formally recognize those students who have been selected for induction as new members of our NJHS chapter. For current members and alumni among our guests, we hope this will serve to remind you of the standard of excellence due to our charge of maintaining as members of one of the nation's oldest, largest, most prestigious student recognition programs.
As this is an American program, I would ask those of you who are comfortable to stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Now, without further ado, NJHS would like to welcome the guest speaker today, Mr. Capro.
Thank you, Leo. I appreciate that. Good afternoon, Mr. and Mrs. McCusker, current and soon-to-be members of the National Junior Honor Society, faculty, students, and our many guests here today. Thank you for allowing me the opportunity to speak with you this afternoon about one of the pillars of the National Junior Honor Society, scholarship. Scholarship is defined by the NJHS as a commitment to learning. A student is willing to spend the necessary time to cultivate his or her mind in the quest for knowledge. Scholarship means always doing the best work possible, regardless of impending reward. Those of you who've had me in class or know me a little bit know that I had a difficult time in school, particularly when I was in middle school. School did not come easily for me. I cut corners, I didn't pay attention in classes, and homework was a foreign concept. I was a nice guy and a good person and often used that to my advantage until the grades came out. And along with the grades came the truth. I have two stories to share with you today. One of the subjects that really didn't make sense to me was world language. When I was in school, I went to an independent day school, somewhat like Cardigan. I had a choice of taking French, Spanish, or Latin. When I was in 6th grade, I took French. Mr. Kimberly was our teacher. He was a dear old man, and to me as a 6th grader, he did not look French, he did not sound French, and I corroborated this with a classmate of mine. We used to call him Senor, which you might be aware is not French. But anyway, this class had very little value to me, and I figured that French was a dying language, and this class would not last much longer. Which is actually kind of a funny story. Earlier today, I was trying to corroborate part of this story, and there were lots of French speakers where I happened to be, so thanks to all the folks that helped me with the next part coming here. For me, the tipping point in this class was when Senor Kimberly had us memorize and recite a poem entitled Quatre poules, 4 chickens. My French is a bit shaky, so I apologize for the lackluster translation and pronunciation here. So this poem goes on and talks about only 3 chickens in the body of the text. This seemingly ridiculous poem lasted forever in the minds of a 6th grader, and I never had the guts nor the interest to question our dear Senor about the 3 chickens that I saw in the poem versus the 4 chickens in the title. It really wasn't worth it to me. Until about 4 years ago from now, when I attended Mr. Kimberly's funeral, I learned from another one of my teachers that that poem was not entitled Quatre poules, 4 chickens, but the poem was actually entitled Trois poules, when 3 chickens. And so you could tell that this has been bothering me because for years I'd been thinking about this, and finally at the poor man's funeral, when we were talking about good times we had had, that this was still on my mind. But at the time, it did not matter. Since then, I had learned the art of paying attention to detail. It does not end there, though. I was such a terrific linguist that I thought by 9th grade I might be ready to go on an international exchange. By that point, I had switched to taking Spanish, and I was in Spanish too. Pretty good, one would say. If you're like me at that age, you think that foreign language is still just translated English, and that people don't really speak these languages. It's just in school for us to be tortured as students. I heard at school about an exchange program that our school was starting that year to Costa Rica. I couldn't find Costa Rica on a map, nor could I speak much more Spanish than I could French when I was in Senor Kimberly's class. But suddenly, I wanted to go to Costa Rica. Not for the love of the language or the culture, but because I knew my parents would say no. And getting into a teenage argument with your parents is just something that had to be done now and again to be normal. So I arrived home later that evening and I wanted to wait for the perfect moment to take out the Costa Rica paperwork to show my mother. Once I pled my case and she responded, "Go ask your father," which most of us know translates pretty close to, "I'm not going to tell you no, he's going to tell you no." I traipsed upstairs to my dad, and during a stoppage in play during the Buffalo Sabres game, I present him with the Costa Rica paperwork and my story. He says, "I'll think about it," which we all know means no, but I'm not going to tell you no now. So, parts of the story get blurry from here, and at some point in the not-too-distant future, I find myself heading to school with a check for a month-long exchange trip to Costa Rica. My parents have called my bluff. They are going to let me go on an exchange that I don't really want to go on, and frankly, I'm not sure I'm ready for. January rolls around, and for the first time in 4 years, the Buffalo Bills are not heading to the Super Bowl. It's a little bit different now, but when I was in middle school, they'd gone to 4 straight Super Bowls. But we were heading to the airport to pick up my exchange student, Pablo. The month he was in Buffalo was quite an eye-opening experience for both of us. He didn't speak any English, I didn't speak any Spanish, but at least I had been in a wintry climate before. Pablo had not. If Buffalo does one thing right, it is winter. It was then my turn to go to Costa Rica that March. Of the group, I was the only 9th grader. There was one 10th grader in first-year Spanish, and the rest of our group of 20 were 11th and 12th graders. I could not quite figure out why I was permitted to go on this trip, but being a good kid really weighed in more than being able to speak Spanish. We arrived in San Jose, Costa Rica on a Friday night to a large, excited and screaming Spanish-speaking crowd, and off we went. Spanish is more widely spoken in Costa Rica now than it was 20 years ago when I was there, and at that point it was really hard to come by. I really needed to fend for myself with my host family until Monday, when I was back with my exchange group during the day at school. There was lots of trial and error, many hand signals and noises rather than words. Slowly but surely, I was figuring it out. With the help of my host family and the will to survive, I was able to communicate. Over time, I was less afraid of making a mistake, but it took a while for me to overcome another Spanish-speaking challenge, being Cece. Cece is a fictional character that I became, as do other people when in similar situations. If I did not know what I was being asked, I would happily agree by saying sí, which is Spanish for yes, rather than drawing additional questions. This is how I ended up during this trip horseback riding on the edge of a mountain, helping to give a pickup truck a running start on a Costa Rican beach, getting dangerously sunburned on the ocean, and visiting Panama illegally. But those are all stories for another day. Lots of other stories, actually. It was only after visiting Volcan Irasu, a recently erupted volcano, that I started to push back on the CC persona. Because my eyes were burning from the poisonous gases nearby, and I was ignoring a Spanish-language sign that said, "Do not descend into volcano." Teenagers do dumb things, but they don't stand a chance if they don't question what they are doing, and that is particularly difficult when you don't attempt to understand the language. From that point on, I made more of an effort to really engage in Spanish and to try to experience and understand what I was involved in. It should have not taken a potentially life-threatening situation to get me engaged, but I am glad to have had that experience. In closing today, I encourage all of you to embrace scholarship. When I was in middle school, it took me a while to, as the National Junior Honor Society says, spend the time necessary to cultivate my mind. I think back on the chickens and the volcano and really appreciate the dynamic learning experience. I really had lots of challenges and experiences that shaped me as a person that I am today. Without facing these challenges head on, I do not think I would have been a member of the National Honor Society in high school, nor would I be at Cardigan here today. I have appreciated the educational journey thus far and encourage you to do the same. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kaplan, for that inspirational message. Our chapter is proud to have been inducting new members since 1979, and with today's ceremony indicates the continuing emphasis on excellence that we represent for our school and community. Throughout the years, members of our chapter strive to serve as role models for other students. In addition to the strong academic record, which establish our eligibility for membership, our chapter members are leaders in our student body and serve our school and community through activities including title leadership, community service trips, school plays, and non-science. We are proud of this record and welcome these new members to bring new energy in support of our continuing work as NJHS. Candidacy for membership in the National Junior Honor Society is based on the following 5 standards.
Character is a force within each individual that distinguishes one person from others. It gives each of us individuality. It is that without which no one can respect oneself, nor hope to attain the respect of others. It is this force of character that guides one through life and wants to develop, grow steadily. Character is achieved and not received. It is a product of constant action and striving daily to make the right choice. The problem of character is a problem of integrity. We must be, in reality, what we wish to appear to others, by demonstrating such qualities as respect, responsibility, honesty, fairness, compassion, and citizenship. We may hope to prove by example that we value character.
My charge is service. Service can be established in the routine of the day's work, and many opportunities arise to help others both at school and in the community. Willingness to work for the benefit of those in need without getting paid or receiving public recognition is the quality we seek in our membership to promote for the entire student body. We are committed to volunteering our time and talents to the creation of a better tomorrow.
Leadership. Leaders should exert a wholesome influence on the school, taking initiative in the classroom, in the dorm, on the field, and in other school activities. The real leader strives to train and aid others to reach their common goals of success. The price of leadership is sacrifice, the willingness to yield one's personal interests for the interests of others. A leader has self-confidence and will go forward when others hesitate. No matter what power and resources may exist in a school, community, or nation, they are ineffectual without the guidance of a wise leader. Leadership is always needed. Thus, to lead is a meaningful and substantive charge in each of our members.
Scholarship denotes a commitment to learning. The student is willing to spend hours reading and studying, knowing the lasting benefits of a cultivated mind. We should continue to learn even when formal education is ended, for human education ends only with the end of life. Knowledge is one great element in life, which leads to the highest success, and it can be acquired only in one way, through diligence and effort. Learning furnishes the lamp by which we read the past, the torch guiding us to understand the present, and the light that illuminates the future. Candidates have the charge to continually expand their world through the opportunities inherent in scholarship.
I represent citizenship. The responsibilities each of us has to our community here at Cardigan and worldwide. As good citizens, we are bound to live up to the laws and guidelines which have a civilized society. Good citizens work together to improve not only our lives, but the lives of all our fellow citizens. Good citizenship requires that we remain strong and vigilant in protecting the freedoms and rights that have been granted to us and in preventing injustice from entering our lives. We, the members of the chapter, are called to live up to the high standards of citizenship citizenship in this day forward.
It is at this time that we proclaim to all in attendance the membership in the Cardigan Mountain School chapter of the National Junior Honor Society has been honored by these candidates through the effective demonstration of these 5 qualities that serve as standards for the society. If your name be called, please join the student or alumni member who called it and walk to the front of the chapter.
Jayon James John.
Don't you call in time?
Samuel Joseph Freedom.
Jung-Ho Chen.
Alex Neil Straight.
Albert Straight Lewis.
Peter Brooks Sundall.
Raymond Tripp Hindle.
Hayden Michael Feely.
Jeremy Bear Boston. Ethan Bullard Kreuzberg. Emrys August Elgu.
Caleb Boyce Gilbert.
Zachary Harlan Whitehead.
Vincent Hoff.
At this time, for all of our new members or our alumni who would like, and current members who would like to renew their pledge, we're going to ask you to repeat after me in the National Junior Honor Society pledge. I pledge to uphold the high purposes of the National Junior Honor Society, to which I have been selected. I will be true to the principles for which it stands. I will be loyal to my school. And will maintain and encourage high standards
time, I would like to formally welcome the parents of the new National Junior Honor Society members, and also my congratulations to the newest members of the Cardigan chapter of the National Junior Honor Society. Can we please give them another round of applause? Thank you to the Faculty Council for your vital support of this program. Thank you to Jacob and Fred for providing today's music. And a special thank you to Leo Yang for organizing today's ceremony. Finally, thank you for attending, especially those who have made this special trip in support of our new members. Following the service, please be sure to congratulate our new members outside of the chapel, after which there will be a reception for the new members and their families in the power room. Thank you very much.